Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening for some. Thank you very much for joining us. Network of Education Policy Centers as part of the EELW network, but also as an organization that has been working in the area of education policy for a long, long time, is very happy to host one of the webinars in this EELW Leadership Week. We hope that you will stay with us until the end. We'll try to make it, or Sanja will try to make it as interactive as she can. Sanja Brajkovic is a program director at the Network of Education Policy Centers, and she has decennial experience in doing different types of trainings and workshops for teachers and educators in general, and has been working with professional learning communities for a while as well. So I hope that your experience today will bring you something new and that we'll manage to have a good session today. Thank you so much for joining us. Sanja, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Lana, and thanks to you and Eva as my colleagues, and also the parts of the network and other professionals to invite me to join you in this very professional and fruitful week. I'm very happy that I can talk and share with you, and that you can share with me your experiences with professional learning communities, because I started to be in love in those kind of professional learning events before more than 10 years, when I started to explore professional learning communities and introduce them to one group of teachers in Croatia. Also, I am the author of the manual for the facilitators for professional learning communities, which was written, I think, before 12 years or so. And by then till now, I think that I was leading numerous of professional learning communities and used several methods in those professional learning communities. So what we are going to talk about today, and what are our topics, it is what is professional learning communities, and I would like to discuss with you how we can recognize what kind of professional learning event is really professional learning community, or maybe some other kind of professional learning, because there are some overlappings, but also there are definitions and very clear concept what is professional learning community. Also, I would like to talk with you about different models you can use in your own work about professional learning communities, but also how you can organize it or introduce it in your learning or your organizational setting. Also, at the end, we can talk about key recommendations, including policy recommendations, about how
Sorry, Sanja, we can't hear you. Could you please turn your mic on again?
Something happened. I can't share the screen because the share button is not turned on now. It seems that I lost I'm not.
Yeah, she lost the administration status.
Yeah. Now I can, it seems. You did something. Thank you.
The helpful technology sometimes doesn't help, but okay.
Yeah. But what is very good that we can't be surprised anymore. Whatever happened, it happened. Okay. So before we start, I want to tell you that I would like to have several exercises also with you, because I would like you to give you opportunity to share your own experiences regarding or group professional learning or professional learning communities. And in order to do so, we have some norms, meeting norms in this in this event. One is to be at time always, and even it will not save us, as you already saw, that we can be in time, but sometimes it doesn't work. We will not be angry because of that, but we will care to each other. Also, please, if you didn't, write down your name and maybe organization, because you will talk with other people and maybe they will remember your name. So it is also a way how we connect with each other. Turn on your camera if you didn't, because we want to use all communication channels we can by computers and online as well. But also mute your microphone when you are not talking, and please turn off your phone. If you have any comment or maybe question, please write down in the chat area. I do not see it right now, but my colleague Svetlana is seeing it, and she will tell me. She can even yell from another room what you wrote down, or even what question was posed. So these are norms. It is also the way how we are starting professional learning communities in the schools, because norms actually save us to feel safe, and to feel safe to share with each other, because in the professional learning communities, what is important is not to share just successes, but also to share maybe some issues. And when we are sharing successes, that actually we are also sharing our questions about those successes. So the norms are very important for that one. Let's go in the first activity. So in this activity, we will send you in breakout rooms in pairs, and you are going to have opportunity to talk about your own experience or experiences. Just remember maybe one experience in your about your professional learning, but the experience should be in the group. So about positive group professional learning in your case. You can think about what happened, how you felt, and what behavior you noticed in your colleagues, or maybe your own behaviors. We will use one method, which we call empathic curiosity dialogue. Empathic curiosity dialogue is a way of listening, but also of making dialogue between each other. And it is showing how we actually respect each other in a way that we are listening without judging. Also that the speaker can speak in their own language, so we don't have to think about what we are talking, we just talk and use language which we would like to use in that moment. Also, if you should ask questions, you do not ask questions because of yourself, but because of that person. So make that the person who is talking is actually in the center, and I will tell you why. What you do not should do is interrupt and ask what we call guiding questions. Guiding questions are those questions which you are asking because of yourself. For example, you have your own experience, and then you say, but I noticed that people sometimes, and it is not about the person who is talking, it is actually about you. So try to not do that. Try to not conclude, assess some other experiences or evaluate it, and also do not provide any ready-made solutions. So it is not about solutions, it is just about our experience. So please, somebody, I don't know who, but make breakout rooms in pairs, and you will be there for 6 minutes. So one person is talking 3 minutes about your experience, the another person is listening. Try not to interrupt. If you should interrupt, think about what questions is relevant for that person, not for you. And then another person is talking for 3 minutes and the first person is listening. Thank you. Thank you for your sharing. I think that all of you came back. So maybe you can share how you felt during the conversation when you were listening, but also when you were talking. Was it hard for you? Was it easy for you? Just how you felt.
I think someone commented in the chat. They
Mhm.
said it was very useful and interesting conversation. Thank you for the possibility.
Mhm. Thank you. So I can share with you what usually teachers say. So this activity and this kind of activity, is it a part of every, I can say, professional learning communities I was leading, and our leaders, our facilitators are leading in their organizations, because we think that actually the dialogue, the communication, the way how we are listening to others and how they are listening to us, it is a way how we are setting the climate of the group and also the culture of that group. We know that, for example, in the teacher community, very often teachers are giving suggestions to each other, and by giving suggestions, sometimes they are telling to each other unconsciously that they didn't write something good. So this is why we put very much effort on the dialogue. It call it empathic dialogue, because it says that actually emotions are included as well. It is not just cognitive activity, and in professional learning communities, even we are trying to improve our practice, we should remember that it is not just about what we are doing, but also how we are feeling in our work, but also outside the work. So what we proposing and what we are telling is that our life is also, our personal life is also important, and maybe it also affects our professional life, and how we do it is actually that somebody is listening to us. Sometimes we call this, it is really simple exercise, but we would like that teachers and professionals understand what we are doing by dialogue, and we call it constructivistic dialogue, because that we know that in the focus is the person who is talking, and when we are talking, actually we are trying to understand it, myself or better. So when I'm talking, I'm hearing my words, and then I thinking about my experience, rethinking about my experience again, and maybe trying to understand my experience better, or in another way, just transform my experience. And this is how we actually give the power to the person who is talking. And when we are talking about professional learning communities, it is always about empowering teachers, empowering those who are talking. And I think that maybe the first lesson to remember is that this is the difference with maybe some other group reflection activities. Then in professional learning communities, there is no power. So everybody has the power, and actually in some way we are the same, even if some person is leading professional learning community, it is not about the power. So he or she does not have the power. He or she just know how to lead or facilitate the professional learning community. So this is kind of experience from the groups. Teachers always say it is very hard, and we should learn to do that. Even it seems that we are doing that in the classroom. Maybe it's not the way how in the classroom. Sometimes we also behave as a person who are grown up and know everything. And here in the professional learning community, it is not about knowing everything. It is really about the learning. I will share my screen now again with you, because I would like you to compare your experience with different forms of teacher group professional learning. So if you are thinking about your experience, you can, maybe you remembered some kind of informal conversation, because even in informal conversations, during the meetings on the halls or some informal conversations in your professional rooms or maybe teacher rooms, you can also have actually a group reflection, or what we called positive group professional learning. Also, it can be some kind of maybe individual assistant. Maybe you learned in the group, but in a way that maybe you were you were mentored, or you had the mentor, or maybe supervisor. So or maybe even you had a professional meeting. It can be some kind of training or conference, or maybe education. Even this kind of online meetings or workshop can be a positive way of group learning for you, and maybe you experience some of those. But what is the difference between those and professional learning communities is that, for example, informal conversations, they are occasional. They are always, or in many times, they are just one stance event. You met somebody told you something about their practice, maybe ask you something, you answered on the question, and that's it. There is no reflection, which is then different from the professional learning communities, and there is no deep reflection. Also, in the individual assistance or mentoring, supervision, and so on, and professional meetings, there is always somebody who is no better or who is no more. There is always somebody who actually teach others how to do something, and maybe we have like impression that there is a way how we should do some things in our profession, in our work. In professional learning communities, there are no steady, ready answers, and actually we are transforming learning, and we are learning together, and there is no ready answers on the questions or issues in which we are doing. I was listening now one pair, because they stayed with us in our room, and for me it was interesting that you actually shared the experience from the COVID, and it seems that professional learning communities were very good really for those crisis situations, because in the crisis we do not know what we should do and how we should do that. And professional learning communities transforming the previous experiences, and because of that they are really a great way of learning in the crisis situation. Also, you can think about your experience of learning in the group, and your positive experience, and through what kind of teacher professionalism that your experiences was leading you or others. For example, and also you can think about what kind of teacher professionalism we need, and then what kind of the professional development we need for that kind of teacher professionalism. So, for example, and this is well-known model of Judith Sachs, and she actually said, for this world in which we are living now, which is really changing and exciting, and we do not know lots of things which would like to know how to approach children and education in the whole, we need what we called activist professionalism, which means that actually transformative practices can be done from the bottom by producing the new knowledges in the collaboration of teachers and the science, and by inquiry of teachers as researchers. Also, she thinks that teachers should working collectively towards ongoing improvement. On the other side of the activistic activist professionalism, it is controlled professionalism. And what is characteristic for that kind of professionalism, that everything is prescribed, usually by the government or by the politics or by the policy. And also teachers are those who actually are passive recipient of the knowledge, who are doing what others says they should do in the classroom. So there is a function, they had a function actually to promote those what is written in the policy or those what is said by the politicians. And in the activist professionalism, what is actually what we are looking for is that we are looking for our own democratic occupation, who is actually which is actually doing something new. So when you're thinking about your experience, you can think about to what kind of professionalism your experience of group learning you just shared contribute. Was it control professionalism or activist professionalism? For example, if it was controlled professionalism, you can see it if decisions were made top down. For example, if it was like professional learning event in which somebody just made a topic and you didn't have a chance to say what kind of topic there will be. For example, it is this event. I just said what I'm going to tell you or talk with you. Then if it was approach fix what is broken, so and like giving a message that we are not doing good in the education and that something is broken, something is bad, and that we should fix the profession and that we should fix ourselves, that we should change what we are doing, but not by rethinking what we are doing, but just to change the skill, like to improve ourselves. Also, if the ideas are shared in the form of the receipts and recipes, then you can think that it was controlled professionalism, or it do not take into account the context in which you were working. On the another side, if it was the experience in which you were reflecting on the ideas or your own experiences, or your context also was taken in the consideration, and then you can think that it was probably activist professionalism. Now I will ask Valentina to share with you a survey in which you can just choose to what kind of professionalism does your experience of group learning contribute. So that experience you just shared in the pairs. Do you think it was controlled professionalism or activist professionalism? Oh, great. Probably it was a learning community in which you were contributing, but also you will see that sometimes we are talking about, then we can think about, was it an ongoing experience, which then probably it was professional learning community. It was just one experience, then we are talking about group reflection. So maybe we can also think about those concept of group reflection and then professional learning community, which is always a path you will see. I would like to share with you also my own experience. Before 10 or more years, I was working in one organization which was providing professional learning events, mostly seminars, webinars, trainings for teachers, and so on. And what I noticed that actually teachers start to tell us, we saw everything. We saw those activities. We saw I know for that practice and so on. But when we asked them, did you implement it? They said we didn't. And they had different reasons why we didn't. Also, what I noticed at that time is that actually persons who were trainers. Mostly they were teachers, and they were excellent teachers. And then there was a gap between the practice which those teachers were showing at the training and during the training, and the practice in the classrooms of those who were participant at the training. And then I was thinking that what they see is that the excellency, but what they do not see is the path, how those persons who are now trainers actually develop their practice. And that what we need is actually that we need a path, that we need those kind of professional learning events and opportunities where people are going to securely, to be safe, but they are on the path of improving their professional practice. And this is actually how I begin to be focused on the professional learning communities. At that time, I was reading a book of Dylan William about formative assessment. And the formative assessment was rather new again in the educational field, and he was talking a way how he was introducing the formative assessment in Great Britain by actually professional learning communities. So if you go on Mentimeter, you can just scan the code. You can write down 3 characteristics of professional learning communities. So what we saw now that you are probably experienced, or you have some kind of experience, and you can tell us, okay, if I think that I was participating in professional learning community, how I know that it was professional learning community, what 3 characteristics. Yeah, it seems that you mentioned several times sharing and listening, but also communication or interaction, and also discussion. What is important are good new ideas. Sometimes they are just reframed, they are not new, but something new happened in our minds, so it is a learning. You can when we are defining what is professional learning community, we can go just by the name, and we can then define what is community, and just remember what is community. So it is a group of people who are living in interaction in a shared area. So when we are working in the communities, or we are learning in the communities, we probably are learning with those who are actually the part of our shared area. In our case, it is a professional shared area, and probably in most cases we are working in the same field or even in the same organization. But sometimes we will see maybe we are not working in the same organization, but we are sharing the same area of working. Also, for group of people who are the part of community, we can say that they have a sense of the membership, that they are the part of that community, and actually that they are proud to be the part of that community. So if we are asking them, do you participate, and are you the part of that community, they would say, yes, I am a member. Also, they have a feeling that they have influence on the practice, that they influence on each other, that also they are influenced and they have the influence on the others. And also what is very important, and this is the difference between professional learning community and another ways of professional learning, is that they have the feeling of fulfillment of their own needs and in their context. And also what you said, and several of you shared with us, those emotional connections. For example, you said here that good communication or collaboration, or even sharing and optimism, it is a part of actually of emotional connection. So each member of community has opportunity to express their opinion freely, seek some help or assistance from their community members, and share their experiences with other members. Also, we can say, okay, if it is professional learning community, what is the another part of professional learning community? And for sure, it is what different professional learning community from another ways of professional learning is reflective practice. And here we should, I think, remember what Dewey said, and he actually, how to say, defined reflective thinking by defining the routine action. And he said the routine action is actions completely following a habit, tradition, or certain authority. And this is exactly what is written and how we describing the controlled professionalism in the previous part. And here we have a reflective thinking, which is actually including thinking over the action itself. So something was finished, and now we are thinking about the consequences of that action. Now we know for the different kind of the reflection, and we know that there is a reflection on action. So when something is finished, we are thinking about our experiences, we are sharing and trying to actually to know what happened, to understand what happened in those of our experiences. And why we are doing this? Because when we put ourselves in another action in the teaching, for example, then we will remember how we are thinking now. And it seems that we are then changing our practice. I know that, for example, one of our members of professional learning communities, we were working on the, how to say, the understanding of the theory and different concepts. And she said, previously I was just in the practice and I was thinking about the activities, how I'm doing and what kind of activities I'm planned for the children. And now when I'm thinking about the activities, actually I'm thinking about the concepts and what concepts are present in those activities, and how actually I would explain my practice with using those professional or scientific concepts. Also now what I would like to mention, that when we are thinking about professional learning communities, there are mostly two kinds of reflections: reflection on action in most cases, and then reflection for action. And you also mentioned, because in the professional learning community, we are planning how we are going to do something new. By the purpose, I was actually I put those literature which is pretty much old, just to remember ourselves that professional learning community, it is not a new concept. It is a concept which was developed in the 80s in the previous century, and it was actually moved from some other professions like medicine or also some technicians professions, and where it was said that in the organization, people who are working in one organization can learn from their organizational practice. And this was actually how we can move not just our own ideas and be moved as individuals, but also as organizations. And this is how organizations are improving themselves. Okay, these are some pictures from some workshops for professional learning community leaders, future leaders, and when we ask them to make a picture of professional learning community, this is how they describe it. You can see that they mentioned, for example, who is the participant of the professional learning communities, what kind of teachers, what does it mean to be community, what are the goals, what is the structure, and also what is the professional learning, what is professional development, how we can notice professional development. Or this one, also they were talking about the environment, how to be, but also the process of learning, and again, goals. This actually give us those pictures are very complex, and this is because the professional learning community are also very complex, and we can't say that it is just, you know, one stance. It is really different kind of learning which are happening during professional learning community. But usually I'm just I'm using this definition, which says that those are groups of, it can be novice or it can be experienced or both educators who came together. And what is important, they are together over time, not just once, to gain new information, reconsider previous knowledge, beliefs, but also experiences, and build on their own and others' idea, experiences, and so on. So what are the characteristics of PLCs? And then you can rethink about your own experiences. Is that group is composed of the regular members, that meetings are usually lasting for some time. In my experience, it is at least 2 hours, because if we are going to in the deep reflection, it seems that we need 2 hours at least. Also, we have meetings over the time. The theory said that it is at least 5 meetings half of year. Here in Croatia, we had the meetings once, usually once a month, and also there is a lot of discussion. Should those who are not willing to be the members and part of the PLC be a member of PLCs, and those who PLC and teachers usually say no. It seems that actually they should willing to be a part of PLC. So these are what PLC allowing participants to do and what they are doing during the meetings. They are sharing and reflecting on their experiences and opinions. They are engaging in reflective and in deep dialogues. They're sharing their ideas and how to improve it. I should say that it seems that at the beginning, many of them try to share ideas at first and then reflect. But what is the purpose of PLC is actually to have in deep reflection. And then what they also do, it is the consequences of PLC, is they are moving from the privatization of practice by observing each other practices, giving feedback, planning jointly, and also building new relationships with each other, but also the community. It seems that it is a way that the teachers are looking at another teacher experiences to new glasses, how to say, and also they had the opportunity to motivate each other to improve the quality of their work. Now I will stop sharing just for a minute, just to check if you have some questions or comments or something to.
Thank you. It just crossed my mind. Would you be willing to share the common barriers you experienced while not as much building but sustaining the community life?
Yeah, I will share with you. Also, you will see on one of my slides. But we know also for example, European practice, it is not the case in Croatia. One obstacle is not to have what we called hours without children in our work, okay? So, for example, when we are advocate for the PLCs on the policy level, we should advocate that teachers have in their working hours without children. And this is really, I mean, it is like stupid, but very often obstacle. Also, I think the often obstacle for me, I was surprised before so many years, but it is the same now, is that that we are like advocating for professional learning communities, but actually the school culture and school climate is not sharing the same idea or the same values. And then you will see, we also ask the school leaders, we think if you are sharing the same values as professional learning community, do you give the voice to your teachers? Once it was very funny situation. I was in the classroom with the teachers and we had a meeting of PLC, and then their principal came, and he just came in the classroom, and he was surprised because he said, "Oh, you are really serious about what you are talking here." So he told that it is just like fun for teachers, and sometimes they think it is just like a therapy. And but we tell them at the beginning it is not therapy, and that actually they didn't sign for the therapy, not to be afraid about that, because also I'm the psychologist, and when I'm leading the professional learning community, they think it is like psychologist thing, but it is really, it's not. Yeah. So these are some. Okay. Now I would like to share with you also some models of professional learning communities. So what is also important is to know, to be conscious and to know what professional learning communities are not. I just mentioned that it is not a group therapy. Sometimes participants, members said it has, for me, it is like therapy. And we say it is not a therapy, but it can have therapeutic consequences for you, because you can feel some kind of relief, but actually it is not focused on the therapy, but it can have this kind of effects, let's say. Also, there are not meetings in which we are focused on discussing the organizational issues. For example, here in Croatia, we have this kind of meetings in each schools, but they are discussing about excursions, about how will organize something and so on. But in professional learning communities, they are actually talking about the practice, because the goal of professional learning community is improving the well-being and learning of children and well-being of the families. And we always say we are here because of the children, we are here because of the family, and we are here because of the improvement of the practice, what we are doing in the classrooms. They are not informal conversations, and sometimes people ask, I think by the purpose, can we just, sit and talk and reflect? Of course we can, and we can have this kind of professional learning community, but my experience is that it first, then it becomes like informal conversations, and they are not leading to nowhere. And that's why I would say that my suggestion would be to do it at first by using some kind of model or method or strategy, how you will, and I will show you, implement PLC in your setting. It is not also mentoring, and I told you that nobody is the chef, nobody is really the leader, but we are facilitators. And you can have a suggestion, but we never say what somebody will do after the meeting. Sometimes people are coming back at the meetings, and it seems they didn't change their practice, but we are actually waiting. It is not just by doing, it is also about how we are thinking, and maybe this is more important. To share just my experience when we are discussing about norms, we are always discussing about the rule that everybody should participate. Something like teachers usually say, everybody should participate and everybody should say something or do something during the meeting. And then we discuss a little bit about that, because in professional learning communities is not just about doing, it is about thinking. And some persons really are sitting, and it seems that they are coming, and it seems that they are not doing anything. but it seems that they need a time for do that. One facilitator before few years told me, there was a teacher, a lady who was sitting, and she didn't say a word for several meetings. And then I was looked up in her classroom, and she was doing, for the first time, she was doing a project learning with her children. So it is not just about, being loud. And also there are not professional meetings like trainings. It is not education. It is not conference. Even on some professional learning communities, on some meetings, when they notice that they lack some knowledge, then they can invite some professional, for example, from the university research or some collaborators. Yeah. So when we are talking about different models of professional learning community, we can see that those models are different according to the who is community and how we are doing the reflection. So regarding who is community, we can ask ourselves who are the participants and how often the group meet and for how long. And regarding the reflection, what are the basis for the reflection and what does the process look like during the one meeting, and also what is the facilitator role. And I will show you some examples from my experience. When we are talking about participants, our experience is not to be less than 5, maybe, because then if somebody not came, then maybe you will not have enough space for the reflection, and especially for the deep reflection. And if it is more than 15, then everybody will not have a space and time to say what they are thinking or to share with others. So we think that even maybe not more than 12, I would say, people in one PLC is enough. I remember that once we had a very good facilitator, and in that school, more than 25 persons, teachers, signed to be members of PLC, and then we said, that's very nice, but it will be a training then. Yeah? Also, you can have a group of members who are coming from the same or different background. Sometimes we have, for example, just teachers from the upper grades or lower grades, for example, in Croatia, but also we had PLCs which were built from the members from the kindergarten and from the primary school, which was very good because they were discussing about their philosophy of working with children, and the purpose of those PLC was the pedagogical transition, so enable pedagogical transition from the kindergarten to the primary school. And then they were sharing how they are thinking, what kind of experiences they have with those children, and so on. Also, one of the very often question is, can or should principals be a part of the PLCs? And you can think why, because of the role of the principal, who is actually the chef and have the power in the school. We had those experiences, but that principal also was the kindergarten principal, and she was at the same time, she was the principal and she was working in the group of the children. Usually we say no. If you think that there is not the issue, but that you can feel the power, then rather say no, because it is really powerless, let's say, constitution, yeah. And also, what I already said, it should be voluntary. Regarding the basis of the reflection, The basis of the reflection can be theory or the practice. I think this is the easiest way how we can think about that. So this is how we are starting. We can start from the theory, from the concept, or for example, from the indicator of the quality, or maybe some policy document, or some another kind of document about which we are discussing. And then, but whatever way you are going, I think it is important that during the meeting we should have, how to say, we should cover and theory and the practice, because we should not stay just at the theory or stay just at the practice. Here you have an example of the professional learning communities I was leading, and sometimes I'm still leading, and they are starting from the theory, and actually they are discussing one document. It is a document from the organization International Step by Step Association. They developed they call it ISA standards. It is indicators of quality practice of preschool and primary school teachers. It has like 80 indicators in seven area. And how we were doing this is that professional learning community PLC members decide to work to be focused on one of the areas for the whole year. For example, cooperation or cooperation with parents. And then for the whole year, they were discussing, you can see in the third phase, discussing about those indicators, one of the indicator, because they wanted to develop a common understanding of the quality. So, for example, what does concept means? How they know that something is collaboration and something is partnership, what is the characteristic of partnership, and so on. And then they are reflecting about their own experiences regarding that concept. And then each of them, they were planning the next steps, how they can introduce the concept in their work, or they can improve the work according to that concept. And then we are going again on the next meeting, and we have warm up and then go through those steps you can see here. And also you can see here it is about 1.5, but we always say it is maybe even 2 hours. It's closer to 2 hours meeting. The another example is to have practice, that we are starting from the practice, reflection from the practice, and that we actually choose specific situation, or it can be observation in the practice. For example, several people are going in the classroom and observe the practice. And then, but we should be, I can say that also when we are going to the observation, we should stick to the theory as well, or we can have a video clip, and then we are starting from the video clip. Here you have the example is Vanda, which is a method which was developed by the one NGO organization in the Belgium, VBGK, and one university in the Ghent, and it has like also 5 stages during each meeting, and that we are at the first. Let's start for the second one, because the first step is actually connected with the previous meeting. So first we are selecting the case. It is a case just of one person, and case is one open issue. It is a situation. It can be also what teachers say, it is a bad situation, some issue, or also it can be some success. And then the person which case was chosen is describing the situation, and we ask the questions, different kind of questions, but not evaluating questions, just describing. And then we are actually, what we are doing is that we are taking the perspectives of those who are included in this case, in that situation, in a way that we are thinking about how that person felt, about what he or she was thinking, and so on. And after that, we are giving the ideas to the person, to her open question, how she can resolve that open question. What is important that everybody is learning, because they are choosing the case together. Either they choose what we say the emergency case, or the case in which all of them are interested and from which they can learn. So I mentioned that I would suggest to start with some of the, how to say, methodology of the reflection. And these was the two examples, either to start from the theory or from the practice. And there are some advantages for do that. I think it is good because it provides a structure which you are following from the meeting to the meeting. And then this structure ensure that the reflection will go on during the meeting, and participants have a sense of security and over time can take the lead. But some disadvantages, and we know it from our practice, is that these models maybe can't be applied in every situation, in every context. And also sometimes participants say that they are fed up with one method. So maybe if they are having PLC and they are the members of PLC for the several years, I would suggest maybe to change a method. In Croatia, for example, you saw the pictures of some of them. There are some PLC which are going on for like 8 or more years now. What is important is that, and we always say that, to remember that it is not one meeting. One meeting can be group reflective practice, but professional learning community is a path. At least I would say 5 or 6 meetings, because during those meetings the group is changing. The interactions between them are changing, the climate is changing, and during that path they are influencing also not just on themselves, on their colleagues, but on the whole institution, on the whole organization as well. Also, we are approaching the end, but I wanted to mention this graph because it was made before 10 years, but it is the same always. So when we started, we ask at the end of every meeting, we ask the participant to somehow assess the meeting. Was the meeting productive? How it was it oriented to the teaching practice? How was the guidance and communication interactions among teachers? And we always had those gap between first and the third meeting, you can see on the graph, because it seems that it is a surprise for the members that they will not get the ready, steady answers on their questions, and it is really not a training. And then after the third or fourth meeting, they start to feel empowered to talk, not to have answers on their questions, and just, let's say, to wait. This is what is professional learning community, to be patient, to can wait for answers on your professional questions. Sometimes we suggest to facilitators to have, let's say, 2 or 3 meetings, not once a month, but every 2 weeks, just to go faster through those phase, which is maybe, how to say, it's not so comfortable for the members, because they're just outside of their zone of the comfort, and this is the reason. I will skip this one. It was, yeah. And you were also asking about the facilitator role. So facilitator plan actually, and leading somehow facilitated the meeting. And it should ensure that everybody are comfortable. And what should ensure is that the conversation is leading to the reflection. Also, the facilitator is also in the process of the learning how to be facilitator, but also process of the learning of about the practice. So it is not a person who knows everything, but it should be an expert. It should be really also a good teacher or educator, and also it should monitoring and evaluate and give the opportunity to the members to do the evaluation and to improve the PLC. And this is one of the citation of the teacher from Croatia. It was done, I think, before one year. What she said about her participation in PLC, she said that, and this was most interesting for me, previously in solving various challenges, I will start from the premise that everything can be solved in my own way. Now I realize that everything can be solved in another way as well. And they really start to think about, and they said us that when they stand in front of their pupils, they are thinking about reflective practice, what my colleagues would say, what in the different perspectives would be in this situation. Maybe it is not now a moment I should make some decision. Maybe I can stand, I can think this, and so on. One teacher said that for her, she was surprised with how some of her colleagues were talking about the children, because those colleagues were her good friends, but she didn't know anything about their practices in the classrooms. So, for example, she said we were drinking coffee together, but we were not talking about children. And now when we really reflect about the practices, now I'm surprised even with some of their values, and it is different than my values. And we should know that when we are facilitating professional learning communities, actually we are entering in the school culture, which is changing. Yeah, and this is the last one about, or the last two, and you asked something about this. So what good leaders should keep in mind? One, they should think, does school culture support teachers' collaborative learning? Also, are institutional goals complementary with PLC philosophy or what is going on in the PLC? For example, sometimes they have a school development plan and they choose to work on the one goal, and in the PLC they are doing on some another goal. And we usually say them that maybe they should rethink and to see what is important and what is the more important than just to work collaboratively. Also, is there any exchange of learning, pedagogical support by other professionals within or outside the institution, and how they should in advance, before setting up the PLC, think about the sustainability of the professional learning communities in their school, in their institutions. Some policy recommendations are mentioned, for example, child-free hours for all staff. Also, to enable during the child-free hours for all staff some team meetings and other activities to reflect on pedagogical practice. Also, what we should do is to support coaches for those who will lead professional learning communities and facilitate them, because in the most systems, even in Europe, there are no actually trainings for those who are facilitate PLC, and there is no joint learning of those who are facilitate PLCs, and we are not connecting them. So this is also one of the key policy recommendation. And this is, I think, this one I mentioned. These are some of literature I was using during this presentation. Maybe you can go on for the NESET report about transforming European services, ETSET services in primary schools into professional learning communities, because there you can find more recommendations for school leaders, but also policy leaders. And I think this is all I prepared for you, but of course we have 5 minutes for your questions. I would be very happy.
Thank you. I just wanted to share, and then a thought when you were presenting the graph of the efficiency and the emotions behind the sequence of the meetings with this deep down the gap during the second or third meeting. It really reminded me of the team dynamic process, where inevitably we are experiencing this difficult moment, and if you know it, you know it's a good sign that you are moving forward. If you don't, I can experience on many occasions that people get disappointed or frustrated and want to draw back. So this is like a special tension and special care moment for a facilitator that reminded me of that team dynamic process.
Yeah. That's why I'm leading also the trainings for the facilitators, and then we warn them that it is a good sign, and it is a sign that they are actually outside of their zone of comfort. It is a zone of learning. Everything is, let's say, fine. Yeah. Thank you very much, then, for your time, for most of your evening time. I can tell. Yeah. Thank you, and have a nice, thank you, have a nice week, learning week, Lana, go on.
Yes, thank you everybody for staying with us this late. Thank you for our hosts, and hopefully we see you somewhere else for another learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much to everyone for coming, and we hope to see you tomorrow, because we have very interesting webinars, including the practice corners. So we hope to see you all tomorrow as well. And thank you very much to Sanja and to Lana for preparing this. So thank you. Have a nice evening.